We are now into early dust. Does that reset who he can give gifts to, or is it on like a 3-month cycle? It seems to. Yeah. So I could give everyone gifts again. Actually, first, before we do that, let's see. Forgot to read his message. Cal takes a deep breath and lets it out in a huge sigh. I love the smell of the air here, he says. It's not clean like the Strato, but like it's fresh, if you know what I mean. It smells like dirt and compost and manure and growing things. And when I breathe it in, it's just... He takes another breath. It just reminds me that everything here is alive and important. Drenda says, I'd be tempted to redo the rest season just to get rid of zeros. Yeah, there's something to be said about that. But I'm trying not to do a lot of reloads. But it is an option. So we'll give you an egg as well, again. Yep. It's talking about the eggs. Here's a log on the ground. Nice. Yep, printing luxury goods. You like the crystals. See if anyone has anything new to say. Nope. Still eating your dust melon. You can have another egg as well. Oh, cool, thanks, Nem says, taking the egg. I guess it is my birthday this week. I kind of forgot. Oh, and more to say. Nem and Nougat are kicking up a huge cloud of dust outside the garrison, passing a sports ball back and forth and chasing each other around. Nem looks up at you, looks up as you approach and flails excitedly at you. Selene, hey, she says, jumping up and down. Look. She bounces the sports ball on her knees. Look at what Nougat and me are practicing. Nem bounces the sports ball from one knee to the other a few times before launching it up in the air. She crouches, leaps up after it, and spikes it with her head towards Nougat with a yell. The sports ball thuds into Nougat's chest, sending her sprawling to the dirt. For a second you freeze, waiting for the crying to start. Instead, Nougat shrieks and laughs, clutching the ball as Nem jumps up and down and pumps her fist dramatically. 4 points for the ball not touching the ground after contact, Nem crows. The crowd goes wild. The Garrison Galaxies win again. Woo! Nougat cups her hands over her mouth, imitating the roar of a crowd. Wow, that's awesome. I know, right? Nem beams. She stands up straighter and puts her hands on her hips. I'm gonna be just as good as my big bro someday. And Nougat will too. She rubs the back of her hand across her nose, leaving a smear of dirt. Hey, you should come by the sports ball pitch sometime. I can show you some tricks. +2 friendship. Nem and Nougat look at you expectantly. Okay, I will. Sometime, probably. Yeah, great, Nem says, bouncing on her feet. I can't wait, I'm so excited. Sports ball is my favorite thing on the planet. Her eyes go wide. Maybe even in the whole galaxy. Me too, Nougat yells from where she's still lying on the ground. She picks herself up carefully puts the ball down in front of her, then kicks it to Anemone. Did you see that? Nem laughs. She's kicked the ball with her foot. Nougat's a natural. She's already inventing new ways to play sports ball. Future coach, Nougat. Yeah, kicking a ball with your foot. How innovative. Nougat puts her hands on her tiny hips. If you come to practice, you gotta play. She challenges, pointing at you. Nemi says I get to be coach, so it's my rules. You and Nem both burst out laughing. Nougat is such a little character. Alright, Tang. I already spend as little time around other teenagers as possible, Tang sniffs dismissively, but now that everyone smells and is growing hair in unfortunate places, absolutely not. Her lips curl in disgust. What a cosmic joke. Hormones that encourage us to be intimate with one another, while simultaneously turning us into disgusting, sweating, stinking beasts? No thank you. I've never allowed my biology to dictate who I am, and I don't intend to start now. Here, I have some medicinal roots. This is interesting, is all Tang says, taking the roots and turning them over in her hands. Oh, we already read that one. That's the same as last time. And lastly, Dis. Oh, did we already talk to him? Dis is fiddling with the toggles on his jacket, watching the comings and goings of expeditions. I want to go with them, he mumbles, but like, not with them, you know? Like, I just want to be alone in the wilderness for a while. A little smile plays across the corner of his lips. It sounds nice. Here's some medicinal roots for you as well. Wow, this is uncharacteristically excited. Yeah. All right. So now that we are out of stress, we survey the plains again. It says there's 7 events remaining and 3 more collectibles and the boss event. Versus exploring nearby where all events have respawned. Which is nice that it'll tell us that. So, yeah, let's go back to the plains and go through those remaining events. Alright. So do I want to just rush to the boss event, or do I want to get these side ones I don't need to hit? I think we'll try and get to the boss event first, and then start going back to some of these other ones. If we still have the stress for it. Because I don't want to miss out on the boss event because I was just hitting all the other events first. I think there was nothing down here, correct? Yeah, so in one of my playthroughs, I went through exploring and would check events, and if I didn't like the event I found, I then reloaded so I can maximize my exploration. And since this game already has a bit of a time wibbly wobbly element to it, it doesn't feel that out of place to play it that way. But for this first run, I'm just playing it, you know, normal like it's supposed to be. Or at least as I think it's intended. A bush bub's blocking the path, lumbering slowly back and forth between a dense strand of glute mushes, or whatever those plants are called, and a wide circular lake. It's like it's on some kind of patrol. It growls a warning when you try to squeeze past it, so you back off. From the look in its eyes, this one isn't letting you through easy. Let's find a route through its territory. Perception challenge. Alright. Another card gets locked into it too. Why? That's a really unfortunate placement. Let's see. So we could do something like that, or nope. Yeah. All right. I guess we'll lock you in as a 2. There. So this one's getting +1 for each gem card. So this one's giving it the +1. Alright, another maximum. Always nice. You sneak through the glute mushes, crawling under them so the bush bub doesn't see you. You nearly get stuck at one point and wonder, what if Dis has to come rescue you? That would be embarrassing. You find a route through and continue on your way, gaining +2 perception. More of these medicinal roots. There's not much to find out here, but the peaceful atmosphere is great for contemplation. You find a particularly beautiful little plateau where you can see the plains spread out before you, like a picnic blanket, round lakes dotting the land like glimmering mirrors of sky. Dis is scouting farther ahead. He was eager to find some adventure. Stop to meditate, catch up with Dis, or remember this spot for later. I don't know what these will do. I think stop to meditate might lower my stress. Catching up with Dis would probably find something interesting, maybe? We'll stop to meditate. Yeah. So if I'd done other events first before this, then it would have done even better, because that just got back 30 stress, but I was only down 15. And +1 perception. You focus on the sound of you on your breathing, on the feeling of your butt on the rock, and the slightly cool breeze on your face. It's very peaceful. You can feel yourself relax as you become one with the planet. I've tried meditating and never had much success in real life. It seems neat for people that can pull it off. Something big suddenly bursts out from the jungle and scampers across the path in front of you. It looks like a miniature landslide, bush-covered bush-covered stone being pulled forward by powerful arms. It's a bush bub, and hot on its heels is a second, a smaller one. These slow, though thoughtful creatures are rarely so full of energy. They charge back and forth across the path as you wisely keep your distance from the powerful animals. But for all the crashing and stomping they're doing, they don't actually seem to be angry. You'd swear they were actually being playful. We have an impossible combat challenge. That sounds fun. Or get closer to watch, or find another route around them. We'll get closer to watch. I'm not going to try an impossible challenge. They seem to be playing a game of tag. When the chaser catches up to the runner, they reverse roles. They do it with such gusto that the surrounding underbrush is completely crushed in a wide circle, an almost perfect circle. Then, all at once, the first one crouches down on the path and tucks its arms and head under the bushes on its back. You'd swear it was just a rock now. The second one circles the first several times, sniffing, then crouches in the same position. Now might be your chance to get past them. We can keep watching, and we get a card for the Bushbub's dance. Or carefully walk past them. I'll keep watching, I guess. We could attack again, but it's still impossible. Impossible doesn't mean it can't be done, but I think it means that the number is incredibly high, because it usually tells you whether it's easy, hard, whatever, and impossible just means it's really high, and based on the card numbers we have, it's guessing it's impossible. But if we used a bunch of our collectibles, we could potentially still possibly succeed. But yeah, we're going to keep watching. In perfect sync, the two creatures slowly stretch out and up, revealing their rocky bodies and reaching their surprisingly long necks up to the sky. They begin to shake their bushes and rattle their antlers in rhythm, which each other as they stomp slowly around the clearing they've made. You think they're dancing? The intensity of the dance increases. They're both shaking their backs so hard that some of their branches and fruit are flying loose. Instinctively, you reach out and grab a piece of fruit. At that moment, the dancers shift and... Youch! One of them steps on your hand with the full force of its massive body. You let out a cry of pain and clutch your hand to your chest. Oh, that looks bad. Plus 30 stress. The two creatures who had been so intent on each other that they hadn't noticed you there are so startled and perhaps embarrassed that they take off running in the opposite directions. Well, that was weird. Shouldn't have reached out your hand to grab a piece of fruit. Should have just waited a bit longer. And another Bushbub event. You almost bump into Dis. He's being so still and quiet, hunched over and looking down a little knoll. He shushes you and points. Don't scare them. You follow his finger to see what looks like a bush shaking violently. Two bushes, actually, at the opposite ends of a clearing. Oh, they're Bushbubs. From far away, they really do just look like plants and rocks. They're fighting over territory, Dis says. I hope they won't hurt each other. Indeed, I hope it's bloody. How do you know that? Or shout and scare the Bushbubs. I hope they don't hurt each other. They won't, Dis whispers. They do it by dancing. Watch. You watch the two creatures face off, rhythmically rustling the leaves that grow out of their heads and backs. Their gangly, branch-like antennae swinging over their heads as they rear up to their full heights. Even from far away, they look imposing, like agile boulders. +1 animals. Yeah, so the same encounter times 2? Yep, basically. One goes, then the other. They watch each other carefully, alternating and repeating the other's motions, trying to outdo each other. But this time we've got Dis next to us who's explaining what's happening. Ultimately, the smaller, more graceful one seems to be declared the winner. The loser plops back down and shuffles away into the jungle, defeated. Alright, boss event. You spot an enormous, unfamiliar flower, large waxy petals joined to form a basin brimming with goopy yellow gunk. The entire thing has a sticky, melting look. The awful smell of the juice permeates the area. It's like something died in there. Drink the goop, drink it! Put your hand in and feel around in there, wait and watch it, or leave it alone. We'll wait and watch. One of the nearby bushes starts rustling. Oh, another bushbub. It approaches the plant and dips an arm into it, bringing it to its face and licking it. Then it sticks its head right in there and drinks. You try not to gag. Blech. After some long, deep gulps, the bush bub wanders away, looking slightly tipsy. I don't want to just leave. I want to find out what it is, but drinking it seems sketchy. We'll put our hand in and feel around in there. You tentatively slip your hand in a little ways and feel around. Suddenly, the plant contracts and sucks your arm into the elbow. You panic, expecting the sting of digestive juices, but it's just warm. Gross, but oddly pleasant. There seems to be nothing else in there. You plant your feet on either side of the flower and pull your arm out with a mighty slurp. Your hand smells awful, but feels all tingly and kind of stronger. We gain +1 toughness. All of your noise attracts a nearby bush bub. It comes scurrying out of the bush, growling and cackling at you. Defend ourselves. I wonder if we had drank it, if we would have gained more toughness. And we've got this card locked in, which currently is a 5, but it's going to drop down to a 3 as we play other cards. Sure. That's also going to be a 3 again. I don't know. Unfortunately, this Mars and Ambition card, being such a high number, usually affects the final score of whether we are going to get the best result. But it also gives -1 kudos, and the result for getting the best score is a +1 kudos. So it's just like, come on, Mars. Whatever. Next round. Ooh, we got a lot of cards. This is going to be significantly higher. It's going to drop down to a 4 now. But we could do like an all blue thing. Something like that. Seems reasonable. Yeah. Nope. Could have gotten up to a 31, which means we lost the kudos for Mars' Ambition and didn't get it back. Ah, well. The funny creature rears and stomps the ground intimidatingly. But by reading its body language, you realize it's just trying to move you away from the big flower. You back away slowly, talking softly to it. Good bush bub. You can keep your gross stinging flower. It's all yours, buddy. Keep exploring. Oh. No! But there were items on the ground that I couldn't get to until finishing that event. What a shame. Should have drank the flower. I don't know. It's Vertumna. Time for speeches, games, and feasting. You stare hungrily at the feast table. Sure, it's mostly soy rations, but it's still more food than you usually see at one time. This year, though, there's something new. Great big tureens of glowing beans. Weird. You try to sneak some food before the speeches start, but Chief Engineer Instance catches you and smacks your hand away. Your mom gets really mad at her, and it causes a huge yelling match. Your dad directs you away from the table as Instance blames your mom for the way things are right now, whatever that means. Your dad passes you a soy sweet to keep your tummy busy during the speeches. He's the best. Governor Udicott takes the stage and manages to calm everyone down. Welcome, everyone, to our 4th Vertumna celebration, she says, speaking through a maxophoner. Her voice has been getting weaker lately and can't reach across the square the way it used to. I'm proud, as always, to stand before you as your governor and to celebrate another year of peace and prosperity on this beautiful planet. Udicott steps aside, wobbling a little as she walks, leaving Seek to complete the annual formalities. Your mom steps forward. This year's feast includes a new glow-in-the-dark food. Pixie beans are our first domesticated Vertumnan crop. The crowd applauds and your mom raises her hand. Credit goes to Geranium. He insisted we dedicate a third of our fields to them, so you'll also have him to thank for the light show in your toilets tonight. A smattering of laughter ripples through the crowd. Your dad chuckles nervously. Your mom's smile fades. As you know, we lost our hydroponics and microbial soil during the wormhole accident, she says. These pixie beans will make up for losses we faced with our earth crops. Udicott's weedy voice rattles through the maxophoner. Thank you, everyone. Let's get to the games. The crowd packs away the chairs and children gather in the square. Which competition do you participate in this year? I'm gonna do a science fair again. I like those. Tangent Science Fair project is monstrously complicated. She gives a 20-minute speech about cell division and a few different Vertumnan species that goes not just over your head, but the heads of everyone in the crowd. What is she even doing locked up in the lab all day? Instance is intrigued. She asks Tang a series of questions, soon honing in on something Tang overlooked. Tang is so upset with herself she can barely finish answering. Your turn. Present our project. Can we beat out Tang's? A card will get a +2. So we'll do that next round. We could do something like... Except we don't have a 2. Okay. Oh, because that was our 2. Well, that's awkward. Huh. Like, these optional bonuses really add to the challenge of these. Figuring out the best way to score points. Alright, we're not going to get a straight. And we aren't going to get a set, because we don't have any matching cards. But I could do something like that, then we get match. It's not a bad call. We could go with something like that. Sure. Alright, so this one gets a +2 if it's in the first or last. Yeah. I think that's reasonable. Except we aren't meeting our goal. Ugh. Okay. I don't know. That doesn't change anything. So I was going to use some of these cards. I like using logs because no one really wants them, and I have a lot of them. +2 to a card. It's a thing. Medicinal Roots just allows me to draw a new card. Crystal Clusters redraws my whole hand if I don't like what I have. Bobber Fruit changes a card to blue and gives +1 to the card. And the Xeno Eggs gives +1 to a card and changes it to red. Because to boost this up, I'd have to... Assuming I kept this hand as is, I would have to use, like, a bunch of logs. Or Bobber Fruit to get one of these changed to blue. What was this? Yeah, that's down to 15. 14. No, definitely as we had it was better. That. Okay, so that would get us to 19. Actually, if I put it here... Yeah. So we'll put it on here. That'll get us to 21. From all those matches. 23 and 25. Cool. We win. Because I'm not going to lose the science fair. Come on. I'll just throw some extra mushwood logs at it to win the day. Yeah, 25 out of 25. We won. Because we tossed 3 logs on, or 4 logs or something. Your project this year is on power generation. Explain the ways the colony will be able to generate power once the nuclear engines eventually need to be turned off. You compared the efficiencies of burning mushwood pellets, spark snow, or the thin oil they found under the southern swamps. You'd love to outfit the colony with solar power, but those panels are full of precious metals that you haven't found alternatives for on Vertumna. You conclude that wind and hydroelectric power are the easiest to maintain and the most sustainable, impressing everyone with your working model of a hydroelectric dam. Let's see, Jorenda says, I like how you spend absolutely no time working on your science fair project, but still the best in the show. Well, the assumption is that I have been working on it, and so it hasn't showed on screen, but theoretically in the background I have been working on it. I think some of the science fairs projects even explain that this is a thing you've been working on for a period of time. Finally, it's time for the feast. The pixie beans are a hit. Your parents keep touting their many benefits. They grow well here, they're super nutritious, taste great, they're really versatile, the kids love their bright multicolored glow. Your rumbling stomach has made you grouchy. Your parents won't let you eat until they finally stop bragging about their dumb beans. You consider the options. Pixie bean soup, pixie bean salad, pixie bean chili, even pixie bean aquafaba dessert. Everything glows in the evening twilight. You solemnly shove your pixie bean everything around on your plate. You don't even want to eat them anymore. Stupid beans, stupid feast, stupid games, stupid everyone. Ah! Every time someone turns to talk to you, especially about how great these beans are and how great your parents are for growing them, you just get more irritated. They're just beans. It's like they love these beans more than they love you. You're probably just hungry. Screw these beans or eat your pixie beans. We'll eat our pixie beans. You want to rebel against these stupid beans, but the truth is, you're too hungry to resist. You count backwards from 10 to calm yourself down so you don't blow up at your mom. Why is she smiling all the time? Ugh. You settle on glowering at her over your plate of glowing beans. She notices, but just purses her lips and turns away from you to talk to someone else. Rude. You shovel the food in your mouth, trying not to look like you're enjoying it. It is delicious, as everyone said, and you start to feel more human the more you eat. Right? Yeah, food. Food is great. A grand feast? Nice card. You do feel better after you eat something. Everyone's in high spirits after dinner, breaking off into little groups to talk or make music together. As the sky darkens for the shortest night of the year, you feel your mood improve by the minute as your friends pull you into a fun rhythmic clapping game. As your irritation fades, you wonder if this is what Congruence meant when she warned you that your hormones would make you feel out of control sometimes. When you go back to your quarters to get ready for bed, your dad gives you a big hug. It's exactly what you needed. On to mid-dust. Your mom is staring solemnly at a wheelbarrow of withered, gnarled-looking crops. She says to the agriculturalist entering the stock into his hollow palm. I hope this isn't going to be the case forever. We're going to be in real trouble soon. She looks up as you approach. Selene, did you need something? I don't want to be like everyone else, Dis says, scowling as he watches people move around the colony. I'm not like everyone else. I'm just different, I can tell. You catch your dad taking a break in the shade of the geoponics domes. Hey, oh hey, he says, waving lazily. Taking a break is important. Don't forget to take care of yourself, okay? Cal is still talking about the air quality. Mars is looking at her eyeshadow. Pang is talking about puberty. Nema sitting in the sports ball dugout, her feet propped up on the bench. Hey, Selene, what's up? Alright. So, we're back up at 50 stress because of Vertumnalia. Still want to try and get engineering and reasoning to cross over to the next perks because we're right there. So, more studying engineering. The night sky in Vertumna is like no star chart in the holo archives you brought from Earth. You're not even certain if the stars you're seeing are new ones entirely, or the same ones but seen from a different angle. Where the wormhole actually spat you out is a mystery. You know some of the adults are working on reading radiation levels from various stars, guessing which ones they are, and using them to triangulate where you are. It's a downright frightening amount of math. Alright, we got a 4 locked in here. Can give it a +2. And I guess after that we'll use something like that. That's a win. It's the best we could do. We gain extra skills from our Bricky card as well as the gear or the card we used. And yeah, looks like that did raise our reasoning and engineering up to crossing the threshold. So 2 new perks. New perk. Draw an extra card at the start of the challenge from our engineering perk. And +1 to mental challenges because of our reasoning. That's nice. Alright, let's do the rounds again. Still playing with the sports ball. Still complaining about puberty. Well, that's the one about hormones and whatnot. Your mom passes you a soy ration bar from her pocket. Here, Selene, eat up. You need your strength. Talking about being a nerd. Your dad is reading a book, an actual book, dog-eared pages and everything, in the shade of the greenhouses. He blinks up at you when your shadow falls over the pages. Oh, hey, little gooseberry, he laughs. Do you need something? Actual paper books? How strange. Yep, loves the air here. Eyeshadow. Alright. So I think we'll get back to some of these humanities lessons that I've been ignoring the entire game. Good morning, Congruence Chirps. Today we're going to talk about the formation of the Vertumna group and our decision to leave Earth. It's a very exciting topic, and we think you're finally ready to hear about it. Let's dig in. You know how it started. Economic and environmental instability, coupled with deeply entrenched hatreds, had thrown the Earth into chaos. And you know how it ended. In that chaos, your parents formed the Vertumna group with a plan to leave Earth. 20 years later, they and their starborn children, you, slid through the wormhole and ended up here on a planet you call Vertumna. But there's so much you don't know. Congruence pulls up a hollow projection of an unassuming human with a firm maternal gaze. This is Planktonic Ascendant's Wangbotha Schmidt, she says, the spiritual leader of the Vertumna movement. They were what people called a speculative fiction writer. The Vertumna project proved that their writing, though speculative, was far from fiction. Wait, a sci-fi author? One long name. A sci-fi author? Yes, Congruence tells you. Their best-selling novel, Life Beyond the Einstein-Rosen Bridge, tells the story of a fictional utopia on the other side of a real-life anomaly at the edges of the solar system. Scientists had been investigating the wormhole for years, but it took a poet to imagine we could travel through it. Wangbotha Schmidt's writings centered around the idea of humanity building a technological utopia on another world. Translated to 100 languages, this was a compelling idea to people at the time, so fans started connecting in vert space. Far from just a book club, these people bonded over mutual aid amid the increasing unrest in their own countries. They were committed to Wangbotha Schmidt's ideas of a future where everyone is treated equally without prejudice. But they realized it couldn't be done online, Congruence tells you. Though committed to social justice, the group saw the impossibility of forming a truly egalitarian society while also reckoning with their own implicit biases and the diverse context of their real lives. They realized that this was the work of generations, and the solution must look to the future, as Wangbotha Schmidt's did. So they got together. An image of a squat concrete building with a rooftop garden replaced Wangbotha Schmidt. Around the edges of the classroom, the hollow projector gives the impression of towering walls topped with razor wire. The first Vertumna colony, Congruence tells you. 400 people volunteered to sacrifice their own cultural beliefs to walk through these doors, agreeing to come up with a new way of life that would be taught to their children. Babies were conceived from egg and sperm donors chosen by lottery and raised communally, like you as the second generation of the Vertumna group. Those babies were your parents. Wait, was it some kind of cult? Or so they mixed their DNA, so they mixed their cultures? Some kind of cult. I gotta try it. Yes, Congruence tells you cheerily. The Vertumna group was widely considered to be a non-religious cult. Membership was outlawed in some countries. Planktonic Ascendant's Wangbotha Schmidt was later assassinated for their connection to the group, and the ensuing violence affected many lives. You think of your mother and her prosthetic leg, and how she rarely talked about her life on Earth. The hollow projection now shows the compound under siege. As more colonies were founded, word got out about the Vertumna group social experiments, Congruence continues. Assimilation was an unpopular ideology at the time, because it had been used to commit terrible genocides on Earth. This, combined with panic that the Vertumna group was destroying the family unit or raising an army of gene tech super soldiers, brought the colony under attack from all sides. But cultural assimilation is horrible, or everyone fears what they don't understand? Cultural assimilation doesn't seem bad. Everyone fears what they don't understand. The image of the burning compound is replaced with a stratospheric on a launch pad. Luckily, the next phase of the Vertumna project was ready to launch. 100 colonists were selected to leave Earth on a colony ship to seed a far-flung corner of the universe with a new human culture. She smiles. The ultimate goal of the Vertumna group was you, children, she says, a generation raised completely unburdened by the troubles that plagued Earth. Isn't that lovely? But how did they build the ship? What was Earth like when they left? So nobody on Earth was like us. How did they build the ship? Orbital voyages were a hobby for the ultra-rich in an earlier century, so there were several relics to be found in museums, Congruence replies. The difficulty was not in acquiring a ship, but making it space-worthy, and in the logistics of the launch itself. The group crowdsourced enough funding to purchase and repair the ship, Congruence smiles. As for logistics, well, you're speaking to the solution right now. I was acquired by connected group members along with the gene tech that created you and your parents. The Stratospheric was the first manned vessel to navigate the wormhole at the edge of the solar system. Given the state Earth was in when we left, it may have been the last. So what was Earth like when you left? Terrible. Congruent shows you some dire demographics. The institutions that had given people the illusion of safety were torn down, and wars were rampant, both resource-based and ideological. Large parts of the Earth were rendered uninhabitable by climate change, pollution, and nuclear war, especially the critical food-growing regions of the world. The Vertumna group weren't the only ones trying to escape Earth, but as far as we know, we are the only success. So nobody on Earth was like us? The Vertumna group members have a unique culture, Congruence replies, but it's formed from a combination of many heritages from Earth. Even the language you speak, Esperanto, was invented to bring people together. And don't worry, Congruence exclaims, you brought your best heritage with you. You're humans. Auntie M says, with Congruence's image, I picture her saying terrible in a bright and cheerful tone. Yeah, she does seem like a happy, chipper character. Yeah. So much information. Your head is so stuffed with ideas, it might burst. Professor Hal and your parents never mentioned this stuff before. They waited to tell you because they wanted you to grow up without feeling different based on your genetic makeup and family history. The Vertumna group. It's hard to imagine having a different culture than your neighbors. You wonder what it's like, everyone celebrating different holidays, eating different foods, speaking different languages. Are you missing out, or are you better without it, like the original colonists believed? It's hard to say, as the decision was made for you long before you were born. All you can do is be the best Selene you can be. Let's get to work. Yeah, welcome to chat, Auntie M. A card becomes 2. Why is the card gets a value of 2 always like right near the end? It's so hard to work with. Sure. That's 24, that's 22, so yeah, we'll go with that. I don't know. I always give a reasonable effort at getting the max score, but don't put too much effort into it. Moving on to Early Wet.